Safari, do you hear me? Safari, you can request the mic. Cyangwa se kanguhe mic. Nohereje mic. Safari, you can able to see the mic? Good. Okay. Hey, Tantine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Uh, are you going to be the moderator?
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, you on time.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we are just checking. Make sure everything's good. And yeah, I'm glad Safari is here. And Safari, is it your first time on a space?
Uh, Good morning, good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Yes, what do you say? What's your question?
Oh, I was asking, is it your first time on a space on this
On,
platform?
yes, first time, yes, on this platform, yes, as
Oh,
a speaker,
yeah,
as a
amazing.
speaker,
Because yeah,
as a speaker.
I saw a lot of people struggling, like have access. Yeah, so yeah, and we're going to start. We're just checking, make sure everything is good. So we are. I think we still have a couple of two guests coming up. Make sure everything is good. But our audience usually space most of the audience they prefer to listen Kinyarwanda. But this time we're going to try in English, so we can make sure we can spread the right information to the world. Yeah. And yeah, Tantine, is it Grace, is it your first time on this
Oh,
platform?
not on Twitter. Maybe just hosting with One Nation. Yeah, it's my first time with you guys.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are locating from where?
Ottawa.
Ah, Ottawa. Okay,
Yeah.
Canada.
Mm-hmm. Are
Good.
Are you in Rwanda right now?
No, no, I'm in US.
U.S. Okay.
Yeah.
Washington.
Hmm?
Are you in Washington?
No, I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee. Oh my days.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. So we're going to start soon. Supposed to be two, so we are waiting a couple of guests. I think we have. Let me see. We're gonna have.
Adele and
Yeah, Adele. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can find some playing song. Do you have an idea of songs we can usually while we are waiting the audience and the speakers we can put some music. Do you have your uh, favorite music? Uh, so you can playing some music while we are waiting the all the speakers. And the good news is this is a it's a recording
mm-hmm.
platform. So anytime we can share everybody. Today is Sunday and we have a lot of spaces going on, but it's recorded, so anytime somebody can jump in and listen anytime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How is the weather Ottawa right now? It's still,
Um,
you guys still
to
struggling
It's
with
still
snow?
cold. It's terrible, you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yep. But it's getting warmer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it like in Tennessee? Do you guys get snow out there?
We had a snow. I think like was it like 2 weeks ago? Like 1 week ago? I don't remember. We had a snow like but it was like 2 inches snow. You know.
Mm.
But it's crazy when the snow comes here, everything shut down. Like two
It
inches.
acts like the world is ending. Wow. No, we're used to it. It's business as usual here.
I know. So
Yeah.
yeah, the 2 inches snow, like everything shut down. It's funny. So you see some states, oh, they have like 10 inches, 12 inches. It's crazy. You know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's life for us every day here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Safari, welcome, welcome again to this platform. So you're gonna enjoy it. It's really really easier to use. By the way, Twitter Space, and yeah, we always have a lot of discussions here. So yeah, uh, Tantini, do you have some music we can start playing while we are waiting? We are waiting. And by the way, guys, you can share.
Bahati, a suggestion. Yeah,
Yes.
as Tantine will be the moderator, can she be also a co-host like you?
Oh yeah, actually,
Mm.
let me send her. I don't know if she. Tati, do you know how the co-host works? I'm gonna send you
Um.
so you can be my co-host, so you
I,
can be. Yeah, let me
advice
send you.
speakers.
Let me send you. I'm gonna send you the link. So you're gonna see like a message pop up on your screen, so you can just accept it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Let me find out. Uh, Tati, able to see the
Yeah, I got it.
great. All right. Now, all right. That was easier for me. Yeah. So okay, great. Now you have a co-host, so you can help me. Like as a co-host, you can invite people. You can give people access. Like speakers, people requesting to talk. So especially the audience. Yeah. All right. Now we have three guests. We have Adele Chiwasumba. She's here. So, hey Adele, do you hear me? Adele, Adele Chiwasumba, do you hear us? Grace, do you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna make
Mhm.
sure. I wanna make sure Adele she's here. So
I think she's here, but you need to send her the request to be the speaker.
okay. So let me do again. She had the mask. She had the before she had the request. Let me give her again the request. Let me see. There you can see the mic sending the mic, so you can just accept the invitation. Good, good.
Thank you. I have arrived.
Oh wow, that was easy actually. Yeah, a lot of people struggled. They always struggle to have access, and yeah, since the first time. Is it your first time on this platform?
No, 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 no.
Oh, great.
I'm.
All right, I'm gonna Grace, all the mic is yours. So we're gonna start. I was requesting to see if we can start with the music, but like we can. It's already 3 Eastern time, so we can see if we can start. So please, everybody, the audience is here. We can share the link. Please share on your platforms this link, so everybody can join. Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Mike is yours now. Yep. Thank.
Okay. Thank you, Bahati. So
Uh,
should we
I, I
just
I think we are still waiting for another
for
guest.
one more? Yeah, one more speaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Good. Well, okay.
Okay. Should we give him 5 minutes and then we can start?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Adele,
Yes.
Adele, do you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, are you in the US?
Yes.
Good. Okay. We were just checking the uh Tantina Grace. She was struggling with the snow. She told me they still have snow in Ottawa right now. So yeah, see the weather if everything's okay.
Yeah, I am bundled up. It's Sunday, so it's
Sunday.
okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. The audience. Most of the audience they used to hear all these discussions in Kinyarwanda, but this time, so we are so sorry. We're going to use English, so we can spread this great message to the world. So we need them to understand. We need the world to understand what is happening in Eastern DRC, so our voice can go so far with the so everybody can be comfortable. So the audience, if you want to speak, as usual here, just request the mic anytime. We're gonna have like three, maybe we're gonna have like three kind of session, and introducing the guest. There will be or the guest will be have enough time to explain the topic, each one, and we're gonna have an audience session where they're gonna request maybe the message, or they're gonna have some comments on what the guests they're gonna share. So I think Grace, she will moderate. She's a good moderator. So let's see what our guests gonna offer or gonna share with us. We are so excited, very excited. Yeah, because uh, a lot of people they're out of information. Some people are spreading wrong information. So this is a good time to sit down and listen and learn. Yep. So we are Grace. Who are we waiting?
We're waiting for Dr. Emmanuel Musinga, and we're just gonna give him 1 minute. We're gonna start at exactly 3:10, and whenever he joins us, he can join us mid conversation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
you're
should
right.
go ahead and start.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we can welcome audience. I see activists. Hi, brother. Say hi. I see a lot of audience. Please, guys, share the space. We're gonna have a good time here. We're gonna have a good time. So we have. I was reading actually the background of our guests. It's amazing. It's amazing. I was reading Safari Munyarugendo. His background. His journey. I was reading Adele Chibasumba and others. It's really amazing. We're gonna have a good discussion. So please, guys, share. Share. I know we have a lot of spaces actually. I don't know if it was a coincidence. We have another English version space. I see. Uh, I think I just see it right now. So we have different spaces, but yeah. Uh, it's really hard to communicate and timing, but we're gonna try to share so everybody can join. I know it's really hard for people to struggle with English version, but we don't have choice. Sometimes we have to use all these languages so we can share to different our community. Yeah. I see Odette. Hi, Odette. Odette Wabzizi. Uh, I see Lutsowe Senyuva down there. Lutsowe, can you come up? As a speaker, let me give you a mic. Let me invite Lutsowe Senyuva, CEO of One Nation Radio. Let me take this time to appreciate One Nation Radio, who is organizer of this space and the other platforms. We have like a couple of three platforms for One Nation Radio. and the Ukweli Times, Rwanda Abroad. These are diaspora media. They try to be part of branding and disseminating the truth information, the right information. Yeah. So thank you, One Nation Radio, by the way. Yeah.
All right, I think we're good to start now.
We are ready. Okay. As
Okay.
usual, as a moderator, mic is yours. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bahati. So hi everyone. My name is Grace Bigazi, and I'm honored to moderate today's discussion, which is addressing the root causes of conflict in Eastern DRC. I am part of the Banyamulenge diaspora, and my background is in politics and economics. I am also a member of the Save Mulenge movement, which is a youth collective dedicated to spreading awareness about the ongoing crisis in Eastern Congo, particularly in the Haut Plateau region. My work has been shaped by a deep commitment to amplifying Congolese voices and challenging the narratives that have allowed this crisis to persist for so long, which is why I'm here today to help lead an honest conversation about the real causes of the conflict and what must be done to address them. So this space today is hosted by One Nation Radio, which is Rwanda Diaspora Voice. It is a global platform amplifying the voices of the Rwandan diaspora. It was founded in 2013, primarily by Rwandans in the United States. It bridges the communication gap between the diaspora and the motherland. It's dedicated to unity, dialogue, and accurate representation. And the platform also counters misinformation about Rwanda. As a trusted media space, it fosters discussion, connection, and advocacy, ensuring the diaspora remains engaged in the nation's progress. Feel free to follow their account and see the very important work that they have been doing to amplify Rwanda's voice in the diaspora. Now, I'm honored to introduce our panelists, each of whom bring critical insight and lived experience to this discussion. These are individuals who have dedicated their work to uncovering the truth, amplifying marginalized voices, and addressing the root causes of the ongoing crisis in the DRC. Our first speaker is Adele Kibasumba, an activist and humanitarian. She is from Uvira, DRC. She's dedicated to advocating for Congolese minorities. She's the president of Mahoro Peace Association, which provides humanitarian aid and supports communities like the Banyamulenge and Hema in Eastern DRC. She also co founded the Jimbere Fund, focusing on healthcare and women's empowerment. For over a decade, Adele has been a strong voice for human rights, engaging with U.S. and Congolese officials, and speaking at international platforms, including the United Nations, the U.S. State Department, and the White House. Her activism is deeply personal, having survived the 2004 Gatumba massacre, where she also lost her sister and many loved ones. This tragedy fuels her relentless pursuit of justice and protection for vulnerable communities. Our second speaker is Safari Munyarugendo. He's an advocate and community leader. He's the president of Isoko USA, a nonprofit focused on combating discrimination and hate speech against the Tutsi ethnic group in DRC. Originally from Ruchuru, North Kivu, he worked as a teacher and in government services before fleeing the DRC in 1996 due to ethnic persecution. From 1997 to 2003, he promoted intercultural activities in Goma and co founded the Intercultural Ballet of North Kivu in 2002, a unique initiative to unite ethnic groups and combat tribalism and hate speech. Today, Safari continues to advocate for cultural unity and the protection of Congolese minorities through his leadership at Isoko USA. Our third speaker is not here, but I'll introduce him once he enters the the conversation. Um, Now that we know a little bit of background for the speakers that we have today, I will invite the speakers to engage in the questions. And the first question is for both speakers, and it will be from your perspective, what are the key roots of the ongoing conflict in Eastern DRC and why has it been so difficult to resolve? I will allow Safari to answer first, and then Adele can answer it second.
Thank you, Tantine. Thank you for the audience. Thank you for One Nation Radio, and thank you for the audience. I really appreciate this opportunity to come over and speak up about the root causes of this conflict. which is really an endless conflict that has lasted longer than many generations today, but is still affecting generation after generation. Thank you for the presentation. The question, I think, is a very broad and very tough to answer right now, but I will just give my perspective, and that's how I will address this question. The question you're asking is the root causes of this endless conflict going on in the Eastern DRC and affecting the entire region. My perspective, we really to avoid being long, I will just grab some key dates and space. What really brought us to where we are today as conflict going on for our region, and mostly Congo as the centerpiece of the conflict. I will go back exactly because there are two key points. Is what you can see on national level in Congo itself, and also in region, the country surrounding Congo. And the problem, the way my view are, we can go back in time. But in 3 words, I will say these conflicts are mostly based or caused by a poor leadership. That's number one. The poor leadership led us to what we are today. That's my first assessment. The second assessment is the fact those poor leaders do not have a vision for the entire nation, for the country they lead. And so most of the time, poor leaders have brought us down, and that situation made people from those regions, for those countries, to also go down in a way that we saw with conflict, with killing, ethnical killing. All those were because of these bad leaders. Now, who are those bad leaders? I will go back first in time of what I can call the golden age. I can tell for the region, the Great region had what we can call a golden age. The time where each of everyone, Rwanda, Uganda, Congo, Burundi, were living in harmony, where everything really seemed to be something everyone can wish. I had a chance to live that time, and I'm sure for the young generation didn't have time to live that golden age. What was that golden age? Just give you the date. We are September 20th, 1976. Something amazing is done by the 3 leaders, Mobutu, Habyarimana, and Mr. President Bagaza. Both signed on that date in Gisenyi, the first organization that really united the 3 countries working together. And that organization was a CPGL. The CPGL, you can really understand it was an organization that promoting, it was economic community of the Great Lakes countries, meaning they want to promote economy for all the 3 countries. What really they meant mostly promotion of regional economic cooperation and integration. Those were the only time anyone living at that time could understand. They see those 3 presidents meeting each other, one time in Gisenyi and the other side in Igoma, and meeting the local leaders. I remember seeing the Bami from Ruchuru, Nyiragongo, and the Masisi meeting President Mobutu Habyarimana and the Bagaza. That time was the golden age. Everyone was happy to see people from the same region, the same history, the same colonizer, the Belgian, uniting themselves to promote the unity, promotion of regional integration. And they had some good ground made at that time, because to make that goal to be achieved, they put together 4 institutions. The most important one was to have a development bank. That bank was a BDGL, the Development Bank of the Great Lakes countries. The BDG was a bank established in Goma. The building is still there. For those visiting Goma, you can see that's the first building when you cross the border from Gisenyi. The BDG was the symbol of a bank of those three countries where financing projects should be go through that bank. And there was more than that. And there was also the energy sector. They put together also a team to build up what current Ruzizi Dam to supply energy to Burundi, Rwanda, and Zaire at the time. But also they put an agriculture segment, which he called IRAZ. IRAZ was established in Burundi, where they had an expert in agriculture to promote local product and also do some research. It worked well. There was another one called Sinelac, which was established in Bukavu. Those were institutions to make easy access to electricity to all the people. Among them was also to exploit together the gas that is the methane gas that is in Lake Kivu. So that was the golden age that went through that time. 76 from that time, 76 was a great time. I'm sorry, someone was calling through. So that was the time. But now 76, no one, maybe some of the young generation don't know exactly what happened that time. 76, everything. But what I can say was, I'm sorry. So at that time, 76, things changed exactly in 1981. Located in Congo, I started with Congo. 81, event change. A new law was established in 1981 by then Zaire Parliament. That law retroactively went back to give citizenship to Congolese in Zairian going back to 1885, meaning 1885 was the key date to identify everyone that is Zairian, which was revoking previous years. Most laws are prospectively, not retroactively. This kind of law went retroactively to make everyone who came in Zaire, in Congo during colonial time, in the meantime, they were transplanted immigrants from Congo, from Rwanda, who joined here with Belgium, and those one. I'm sorry, I'm annoying. There's something calling. It's very annoying. So this time, I'm go. Give me a second.
If you would like to maybe deal with that, I can let Adele take over the question and then we'll come back to you.
I think
maybe it's an emergency. Perhaps you can take it and then Adele will take over the question and then we'll come back to you. Is that okay? Adele, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. I think he's.
Okay, thank you. I think I can resume. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay, so 1981, exactly that law changed the dynamic in the region. That's the first root cause where everyone can go back. What was the law 1981 enacted by the parliament in Kinshasa for people, Banyarwanda, living in Zaire at that time? So from that law, the consequences went to 19. We saw the first consequence of that law in 1989. The local election took place in both elsewhere in Congo, and exactly North Kivu and South Kivu, the Banyarwanda and the Banyamulenge were denied even though they were elected, those elections were canceled. It was in application of the 1981 law. That first incident put everyone from Banyarwanda were there before colonial time. Those who came during colonial time, Belgian moving Banyarwanda from Rwanda, from Burundi to Katanga, to Masisi, elsewhere, all of them, they were in limbo because that law in 1981, they were trying to put in motion. And that law offered only two ways to have the citizenship. You have to apply individually. If you don't apply individually, then it will not recognize you as a Zairian. So if you apply, you give you one, there's one type, they will call it in French, petite naturalisation. That means it was a limited naturalization. And there was another one, grande naturalisation, which means you take large responsibility, they can allow more, it's no more restricted as the small one. So it would only pass away all the Banyarwanda, and instinctively, because all of them, they were called, your citizenship is right now in limbo. We need to make sure, we need to identify individually, where you come, did you come, were you there in 1885 before the Berlin Conference, or you came after? If you came after, you have not. So that was the first challenge. Second challenge, which happened in region. I moved from out of Congo, Zaire, I'm going to Uganda. In 1982, President then Milton Obote of Uganda decided by law to expel all the Banyarwanda living in Uganda. And exactly that law was put in action. All the Banyarwanda, those established long time ago in Uganda and those who went there as refugees, were also expelled out of Uganda. Most were stranded in between Rwanda and Uganda. The story, you know what happened, it ended until 1986 when today President Museveni with Frederick Yema started the NRA, National Resistance Army, with NRM, National Resistance Movement, to topple and remove Obote as the president of Uganda. That was in Uganda. So listen, these two situations, the Banyarwanda in Zaire and in limbo during the 80s, we then, at the same time, the Banyarwanda, the other side in Uganda, they are also in limbo between, because that time President Habyarimana said, no, Rwanda is so small, we can't afford to have all the refugees back. Now, I'm moving forward to what happened October 1990, when the RPF, led by Frederick Yema, decided to go militarily, come back in the home country, Rwanda. That also sparked the region in many ways. While at the time in Zaire, the Banyarwanda were still accepted, but with all the price to pay, each one had to bribe to have a citizenship. Let me give you an example. To be a lawyer in 1980s, you need to apply citizenship. To apply citizenship, you need to really go through multiple challenges. 1990s happened. The spark of the RPF coming to Rwanda militarily brought up something new which didn't happen before. One of the most, the hate speech changed the narrative. From the Banyarwanda in Zaire, it changed to be a narrative against the Tutsi, the invaders. And then came what they called, what we know from the journal Kangura, called the 10 Commandments against Tutsis. Now it's in Rwanda. But remember, in Zaire, we have a Hutu and Tutsi, also the same situation. While we're facing the same discrimination as the Hutu and Tutsi, Banyarwanda speaking, and the Banyamulenge, but then singling exactly the Tutsi with, in Rwanda, the 10 Commandments, it had multiple effect in the other side in Zaire. Exactly that happened. All the Tutsi in the area of Ruchuru Masisi, they started being targeted. Killing started in 1993 in Masisi, in Walikale. It's reported, it was in the market on Sunday. People were killed because between tribes, they brought back, you Banyarwanda, you need to go back in your home country, Rwanda. We are 1993. At the same time, the war is still going on in Rwanda between the RPF and the Habyarimana government. So that's exactly what's going on at that time. 1992, I'm going back to Congo. When the entire nation, Zaire, decided to change the regime using what they call National Forum, during that National Forum, the law of 1981 was really applied exactly the way it meant. They took leaders like Rwakabashinga was elected in 1959 to independence, 64, 77 at the national level. He was denied the right to assist, to participate as the leader, who was also part of the party MPR, which was the national, the unique party for the Zaire. They refused him. Same thing for the Bishop Kanyamashumbi, who was the Secretary General of Bishop Conference of Zaire, 1980s. They denied him to participate on the basis of the law of 1981. That exactly the application of the law 1981. So that I'm locating exactly what the root causes why it ended. But what happened in 1995? Now, the law in 1981 is still taking effect, but there was a commission put in place by Parliament in Kinshasa to go identify, learning the history of the Banyarwanda in eastern region of Zaire at the time. 1995, the commission was led by a certain MP called Vangu Mambweni. Vangu Mambweni came up with a resolution. The resolution were up in April 1995. That resolution came up to exactly apply the rule of expelling all the Banyarwanda. We are in 1995. But let's go back a little bit. In 1994, the genocide took place, where all the Tutsi were massacred and all the refugees, the Interahamwe and the ex-FAR crossed the border, bringing with them all the genocidal ideology. Finding the Tutsi in Zaire, and the Tutsi in Zaire were in limbo, where the law in 1991 was still being to be applied to them and distinctively. And in 1995, in April 1995, that Commission Vangu report to the parliament, and the parliament enacted the law that's asking all the Banyarwanda, Tutsi, the Banyamulenye, South Kivu, all of them need to be expelled out of Zaire, out to Rwanda, together with the new refugees. Then it's exactly what Obote did in 1982 in Uganda to all Banyarwanda. That is applied to the Banyarwanda, the Tutsi, and the North and South Kivu, mostly because the new narrative changed. The Tutsi are the invaders. Those came after. They don't have land. They came after everyone. So the narrative changed exactly, and how 1995, the law was put in action, we were set to everyone to leave the country. In July, the leaders of the Banyamulenge and the Tutsi in North Kivu sent a letter to President Mobutu requesting him to not sign in law that asked it to be expelled. Nothing was done. But I will stop there. 1996, everyone left Congo, all the Tutsi who could make it, they made it. Personally, I left Kinshasa on November 1st, 1996. The root causes of what's going on today, I said bad leaders, poor leadership, no vision for the country. We had the golden age. At the time, those three countries built together. After that, laws were enacted to discriminate a certain group of people, which didn't happen from 1965 to 1980. That brought where we are today. Next, I can add more, but I can limit myself at this presentation where exactly the root causes are based on this poor leadership. The poor leadership with no vision bring people to ethnic conflict, and all this, it's where we are today. Next will be how can we end up now really having this, build a new future for the region, for Congo, our home country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Safari, for that great introduction to the topic. And I think a big misconception that we've all been hearing and seeing circulating on social media is that anti Tutsi sentiment in the region only started after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, which is very misleading. According to what you have given us, you do have a first hand testimony of being born and lived in the region, as well as all this is academically backed as well, that anti-Tutsi sentiment in the region has deeper historical roots, particularly in the eastern part of the country, which has been influenced by a combination of ethnic, political, and regional dynamics over several decades. I'll pass the same question on to Adele if there's anything that she would like to add to what was said.
Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, One Nation Radio, Bahati, Okweli Times, everyone for allowing us to participate in this conversation. So I think Safari pretty much made a summary of what I was also going to say. But in short, I would also add that the one of the root cause of the ongoing conflict, as we know, this region has a long standing of ethnic conflicts, and it's really complex, and everyone kind of picks up where they were born. So Safari is probably not a generation, but he's not in my generation. I'm younger than him, but everyone experiences and view this conflict in the eyes of where they found it. So you know, a lot of the things that he mentioned, these are the things we like hear from our parents. But in my perspective, I found that there is a huge colonial legacy in what's happening today, in a way that DRC was designed by the colonizers. This most of us Congolese, Rwandese, like everyone in the Great Lakes have no say, right? We can't change what was done, but we can change how we manage what we have. And so one of the root causes is that we're unable to manage if I may, our governance, our governance, our way of governing things in DRC has failed to manage these colonial legacies so that everyone our Congolese government has failed to manage these colonial legacies. So I would just give an example. Most of us were born, raised in DRC, myself. Our parents were born and raised in DRC, our grandparents. So for me, I can go back 7 generations. I can go 7 generations. Um, I can go back generation of my family lineage in DRC. But anytime I would introduce myself as Congolese, I would always be doubt. People would give me an eye of doubt, like, not really, you don't look Congolese. They would always attribute me to being Rwandese, even though many times I have not really been to Rwanda, or really have never really had been influenced by Rwandan culture, but my Rwandan culture is really rooted into my my heritage and culture. I'm sorry.
I think she's having to deal with some technical difficulties. While we wait for her to come back on board, I'll just reset the room. So today our conversation is about addressing the root causes of conflict in the Eastern DRC. Our panel of experts today are Adela Kibasumba, who is an activist and humanitarian, and we also have Safari Munyarugendo, who is an advocate and community leader. And today's space is hosted in English. We're doing that in particular because we're trying to reach a wider audience. A lot of these spaces that and a lot of these conversations that have been ongoing in the past couple of weeks have been in French or Kinyarwanda, and today we're just seeing ways that we can expand our audience and share our truth with the rest of the world. Adele, I don't know if you're good to go now and pick up where you left off. Okay, and just one more housekeeping for the audience. I do see a couple of requests, so we will take requests in the last 30 minutes of the space. So just have your questions on standby, and then we'll be taking questions then. Okay,
Grace,
and
I
Adele
am
is.
available.
Oh, right. Go ahead.
As I was saying, my experience with the root causes of the conflict in DRC, that after the colonial legacies that we all know, that many Congolese and people in the Great Lakes had nothing to do with the way Congo was designed, and how every culture, every tribe found themselves in DRC. We had nothing to do with it. And so when you have leaders that came after the colonizers, really failed to bring the whole community, the whole country together, and ensuring the cohesion of the whole nation. And so then you have past conflict that happened in the region, like the Rwandan genocide against the Tutsi in 1994, which pushed armed groups and refugees in DRC, and then they those again the leadership that was already in place that was not able to manage the crisis appropriately. Instead, this conflict really actually affected the minorities in DRC that were already having ethnic tensions within the DRC. So Safari mentioned about the Vangu the national congress that was held way before the RPF came into play, or the current Rwandan government came into play. There was already stigmatization happening in DRC, where Congolese Tutsis who wanted to participate in elections or voting, they were not allowed. And so when the genocide against the Tutsi happened in Rwanda, and the whole conflict kind of into DRC, the DRC government was already dealing with the fact that they were not accepting the Congolese Tutsis, and then instead they kind of scapegoated really the whole conflict to the Congolese Tutsis that were already happening. So when you have the Rwandese refugees and the armed groups that were coming into DRC, they actually aligned themselves with the Congolese government to fuel more hate towards the Congolese Tutsi, and then the conflict just got worse and worse. So you find that the poor governance in DRC and the ethnic tension and the conflict that are coming into the DRC are just making things worse, and they all are very much interconnected into what we have today. So I hear a lot. I hear on social media and a lot of people talking about the actual issues as for me, so I hear a lot of the social media and a lot of the narrative that it's out there is that the issues is the armed groups that are there, and they will name many the M23, but there are so many other armed groups that are in DRC, over 200 of them, but you only hear M23, and the only reason the M23 is mentioned is because it's tied to the Congolese Tutsi cause. But other issues that are out there that out here is that there is a humanitarian crisis, which is true. But all of this, the armed groups that are in DRC, the humanitarian crisis, the foreign interference in DRC are all consequences, not the actual root cause. They are actually consequences of the issue, of the root cause. So it would really end there because I don't want to take much of my time, and I think we're going to get into a conversation more. But do want to drive this, that the root causes now are not talked about, is the stigmatization, the exclusion of certain Congolese communities. Then you have the poor governance that are unable to really bring the whole country together to solve these issues. But instead, you hear over and over that the root causes are M23, the armed groups that are in the Congo, the humanitarian crisis. These are the consequences. They're not the problem. And if you deal with the consequences without dealing with the governance issue, the ethnic grievances that are there, you're not going to solve the issue. It's kind of like when you have a wound, instead of really giving the wound the antibiotics so the antibiotic can kill the abscess, you're just putting a band-aid over an abscess. It's not going to heal. It's only going to metastasize. It's going to get worse. And this is how we have issue for over 30 years. A lot of the generation come and they found that issue there, waiting for maybe somehow, if they can just, start, deal with armed groups, or if they can give millions and millions of dollars to help refugees or help the internally displaced camp, somehow the problem is going to end. It's not going to end because you really didn't get to the root of the conflict. I see a lot of the international organizations. They really put a lot of their efforts into peace building in DRC. I cannot tell you how many peace building organizations that are in Goma or like in Bukavu or anywhere. Really, they're trying to think, to talk to these armed groups, thinking that somehow, if they can, talk to them and reason with them and lay down the arms. But the thing is, these are not. This is not a job for a peace building. Peace building comes after peace. If there's no peace, you cannot build peace. I don't know if that makes sense, but the government actually need to deal with the issues that are underlying, right? The poor governance, that exclude a minority, that only when to gain power, they have to actually use populist language to gain power. It's almost like if using a language of these are invaders. They need to go back to Rwanda. They need to go back to where they came from. They don't belong. You don't look Congolese. You are taking up our land. You don't have an ancestral land. The Belgians didn't leave you with a chiefdom. Things like that. It's almost like a hanging fruit. Anytime they use those things, they gain popularity, they gain votes, they gain the power. But then war leaves the country, right? No roads, no infrastructure, no medical services, no basic, education for Congolese. And somehow the international organizations, the international community has also allowed this nonsense, like this kind of rhetoric, this kind of ways of doing business or running a country to go on forever, and hoping somehow Congo is going to find itself. It cannot find itself because the way our colonial legacy was set up has never been challenged. And if it's not being challenged, to rethink of way to really manage, the local governance, it's not going to change anything. So I think I'm just going to end there. And I think one more thing I do want to say is that corruption in the DRC is it's within the DNA of a way of governing in DRC. So you find corruption within the political class, the military class. So it's easy for them to work with armed groups to, it's basically how they thrive and how they get by and how they make millions, and how they form any businessman, any general can just go and form a militia to gain a control of a mine or control of a certain area, because of corruption. So again, I think this is tied to a governance issue, but corruption in DRC is almost a way of living, and it has it's almost a systematic. It has reached a point where there is no surgery that can fix it. Only a good way of governing this country can fix that issue. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Adele, for that. Just to reset the room for people that are coming in and finding us mid-conversation, we are addressing the root causes of conflicts in the DRC, and a little summary of what the speakers just gave us. The question was um, for them to give us a summary of like the root causes of the complex, and essentially it's that in Eastern DRC what's happening is a result of a complex web of historical, political, and ethnic factors, and the colonial legacy combined with the sheer size of the country has created a fragmented society where tensions between different ethnic and political groups can fester, and the international community's lack of understanding of the local dynamics, particularly the disconnection between the East and the rest of the country, has contributed to the ongoing instability. Ignoring these root causes often leads to a linear analysis of the conflict. It oversimplifies the situation, and failing to understand the deeper underlying issues that continue to fuel the violence and division. And in order for us to address the issue in the Eastern DRC, a more nuanced understanding of these factors is crucial, as is a long term commitment to rebuilding the country's governance and national identity. Equally important is the recognition that the lived experience of the people in the region are valid and must be central to any efforts to bring about lasting peace and reconciliation. The voices of those who have lived through these conflicts, including the impact of armed groups operating in the region, must be heard and respected. And these individuals offer essential perspectives that can help guide solutions grounded in the reality of the situation and provide a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by these communities that are caught in the violence. Ultimately, and the most important thing is that we cannot achieve true peace without honesty and acknowledging the full complexity of the situation and facing the difficult truths about the root causes of the conflict, which will bring us to our second point here. So we've touched on the historical and geopolitical factors shaping the current situation. We know what was happening in the region at the time, as Safari gave us and Adele gave us, what was happening in Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda at the time, and how that affected the Rwandophone communities in the region at the time. So, with that in mind, I'd like to ask our panelists, how does governance or the lack thereof contribute to the ongoing instability in Eastern DRC? Safari, you can take the question first.
Thank you. Thank you, Tantia, for the question. Thank you for Adele for the complement information she added. Yes, really, there's an impact that in what's going on in Congo in the region has a link to their lack of good governance. It's exactly, If you want to solve the problem of Congo, they start from there. But I will bring up exactly what that bad governance represents in terms of words and actions, because words matters. To kill someone, you may kill the person without really using a gun, without using a machetes. But leaders' words matters, and they have a big impact to what can happen to single people. I will go from those one. 19, personally, as someone who lived in Kinshasa and being affected by the words of calling me, your identity, your name is not a Congolese name. I was denied several times my passport because of my last name. Being called by my last name, tying it to Rwanda as a country, no give me the right to have my passport, showed me exactly 1990s how vulnerable I was in a country where the law does not apply and distinctively, basing on my profiling, my stereotype. But what's come after 1996 and the war that ended with AFDEL, 1998 in August, when President Laurent Desire Kabila then had a bad relation with the people who helped him, the country that helped him, Rwanda, Uganda, and Burundi. And when they want to topple him out, he went on television, I think it was at the airport of Njili, and he expressly asked every Congolese to take machetes or type of traditional arm to kill all Tutsi in Congo. That's the word that exactly comes from a president of a country. Nowhere else I have understood that type of language from a leader. It's exactly telling you what the level of leadership Congo had. And from that, Tutsi and anyone looking like were killed, massacred, were really burnt alive in Kinshasa in 1999, 1998. And the United States, the country that protects the rights of human beings, went after Madeleine Albright, requested, if you don't want these people, please give them, we are going to bring them. Those are the first Congolese refugees that were settled in the United States, and most of them joined the United States in 2000. Your home country deny your right to be in the country. So President Kabila, Laurent Desire Kabila did that language. Never happened before. But let's move forward. In 1998, the war went whatever, in which direction. In 2004, why the new government is setting place, the country is united to be one single country. And the President Joseph Desire Kabila with four vice presidents. In 2004 in Goma, a vice president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Herodian Dombasi Abdoulaye, in Goma, he took I think he was in a stadium in Goma. He used this language that the Tutsi are vermine, we need to eradicate them. And he showed a spear that we are going to kill them this way. This is a vice president of a country just coming out of the war, and he's spreading that hate speech in Goma, exactly 2004. Those words matters because in August 19 in 2004, Adele, as a survivor of Gatumba massacre, those words were taken into consideration by all the Mai Mai in that region, saying even though the country has been reunited, there's government where we want to bring everyone together. The same actors, political actors in Kinshasa, were acting in a way to dismantle, kill, continue the genocide that happened in 1994. Now, 10 years after, 20 years after, 2004, it's far away. Yerodan Dombasi, there was a new constitution in Congo, 2006, that law of 1981 that caused harms to all Banyarwanda in Zaire, then Congo. That law was reversed completely, and the new law was setting a new way of all Congolese, and all the Banyarwanda, the Banyamulenge, everyone were accepted in the Article 10 of the Constitution of the Democratic Republic of Congo, state expressly, all are Congolese if one of the tribe were part of this country as June 30th, 1960. It's exactly what should have been done. The law of 1981 was one of the worst to make a country go backward. The country went backward because of those leaders. Why I'm citing this? It's because what Herodian Dombasi in 2004 said in Goma. In 2003, while the President Tshisekedi is campaigning for his re-election, a president himself in his own mouth in Uvira, stating, asking the Wazalendo, we are taking care of those infiltrated. Those are the words from a president. Exactly. We are victims from 1990s, from the same word calling us people of no belong to this place. And when in Uvira, a president saying that, relayed by Giuseppe Takwira, his advisor, special advisor, because that's what he stated. But and he added exactly the same word that Herodia Dombasi did in 2004 in Goma, saying that Tutsi are the creation of Satan. Understand that 2004, 2023, 2024, you have the same political actors today fueling, pulling, adding gas on the fire, exactly for the same causes. Why I'm saying this, it's just to remind us, leaders have the big responsibility of what's going on in the current crisis in Congo. Those leaders, they went beyond. When they had someone who wrote a book, Mr. Shalonana, in his statement, exactly, he's taking what Mr. Honore Ngwanda said, Tutsi do not belong to Congo. They came after, we received them. The same speech spread by all political leaders in Kinshasa, those extremists mostly, but also taking in consideration the hate speech genocidal ideology. It's what we see today in 2004, 2005. On your question, how this can be solved in order to take back. Number one, when you have a bad leader, it will be challenging for everyone to bear the consequences of a bad leader. Only people can choose their own leaders, but when you choose bad one, consequences all happen. And in that way, in that capacity, we need really to look back. We need to change the laws, but we need to change. We need to have a new dynamic among Congolese. Congolese are the only one to make the right path towards good governance, but also putting people together. In my time, I saw people from different tribes in Congo, mostly North Kivu. And when at the time we worked together, we could really understand each other. We had a conflict within tribe, which is normal. It's a dynamic. The Hutu and Tutsi in Ruchuru, in Masisi, we fight over land. Always, most of the cases at the tribunal in Goma, it's about land in Goma, which is normal. It happens all the time. That can be solved by good governance. Corruption should be one of the virus that will make that issue to be a big issue. That's number one. The second one, we as Congolese, we are part of the world. We are part of East African community. I talk about the golden age, where even at the time in 1976, when the CPG was established, in 1980s, President Habyarimana of Rwanda, they gave him a land in Walikale territory, today Walikale, a land of 900 hectares, where he was the owner. He took some Rwandese from Rwanda. He went to work in his land in Walikale. It's telling you how the relationship between these two leaders were a really good one. But at the time that situation was happening, the leaders in Congo didn't want that situation to stay longer. And that's what happened the law in 1981. 2025 today, we need something to change Congo once for all. And that will not come from outside. I don't see Congo being helped by South African, Tanzanian, by European, solving these root causes. And those root causes are those bad laws. Those bad laws should be really removed on the table and build a new Congo. That new Congo can come from each and everyone. And we as the member of the communities, we call upon all our Congolese partners to build to tie up what is make us stronger and remove what make us weak. If someone is going to call you foreigners by looking at me and not seeing what I can bring to the table to rebuild our home country, that person is a danger to the entire country. That's exactly where my appeal is for each and everyone. Congo problem is solved one time by everyone. And we are looking forward for a country that we no longer seeing itself as its own to solve the problem, but with the help with neighbors. Because the neighbors have showed us nowhere in Uganda a single tribe has been called out. You need to be expelled out of this country because you don't belong to this country. It didn't happen in Burundi. In Burundi, they never say this group of Tutsi or the Hutu should not stay in Burundi. It didn't happen in Tanzania, in Uganda, not even in Sudan, where they have this civil war that happened and was for long. It's only in Congo where you see people targeting others. These are foreigners. Congo is our land. We have land. Colonial time came over, found us there. Law should protect everyone. But until then, it's work to be done, and all of us have work to do. And my call is to each and everyone. Let's be on the same table and discuss the problem that can make Congo a strong country without discrimination, without the hate speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Sapphire, for that insightful answer. I'll pass it on to Adele if there's anything you would like to add as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Safari. I think he stated it so very well that the problem is really um, the hate speech. Words matter, especially when they're coming from a place of power and influence. They do matter. And we have seen it time and time again that word matters. They're the worst weapon, right? They don't cost much. They're very cost effective in terms of using it as a weapon of a genocide or a destruction. We are living witness of what words can be and what can the word can do to people. So very well stated, and I don't think I can add anything. But what I will add to this point is that um, we have a weak state. We have a weak state in Congo, so the lack of state presence in many different places in the country does contribute to instability. So I would probably just speak about in areas that I'm very familiar with. Congo is big, is very big. So in where I come from, we have been also fighting for to belong, right? To belong, to be part of a functioning state that gives basic services to all citizens. um, I remember in the second Congo War, one of the proposition was really to also have a territory in a very
landlocked, remote area that has no infrastructure, to just have a local governance system that would give the citizen of this area birth certificates, marriage certificates, just basic things that will otherwise take days to walk in order to obtain them. And because of the population that was living in this area, because it was labeled as foreigners that don't belong and they don't deserve to have a land, um, these rights, this right to just have a centralized local governance entity that would provide these services, were denied. And this really brought up a conflict, that would, you know, become almost a national conflict. Um, so I know Minembo was at once proposed to be a province, a territory, so that these small services can be delivered. And Minembo is not really just Banyamulenge. It has many different tribes that would benefit from this. But because of hate and the immense efforts of the Congolese state to exclude the minority, then all the other tribes that are living there become victims. They're not able to get those services just because they're also living with an unwanted tribe. And obviously, this issue is picked up by politicians in the area, like you mentioned, Bitakwira, but also it just becomes a national issue because it involves an unwanted tribe in the country. And so all the politicians, when it comes to elections, they would start to um, campaign on denial of the Minembwe as a territory. Um, at some point, Minembwe was given like a commune, like a very small entity, but still today, even when Tshisekedi came, he started he revoked the installation of the commune. I don't know what they call it in English, but it's a communal something like that. He invoked it. Why? Because he needed the popularity from the people in South Kivu. So for him, he wouldn't. It's not that he didn't even defend it. He didn't even defend it, saying that no, we need to decentralize the country. We need to make sure every citizen get the services that they need. He didn't even think of the Bafulero, the Banyintu, the Babembe, the Bashi, everyone that would benefit from having that entity there. He didn't even think twice. But because it will gain him popularity, he fought it. He fought it. He did undo the installation until today. He even influenced the MONUSCO that was stationed there not to welcome the leader that was installed there. He was excluded in meetings and delegations because he just didn't want to belong or to have every um
I think Adele, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut off there.
Can you hear me, Grace?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
You were just breaking off towards the end. Okay.
Okay. Um
Okay. I think Adele, are you there still?
yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Um yeah. So I sorry, Grace. I was saying that it's really just unfortunate that this you know, the lack of the lack of the state presence, how it affects the local population. It also affects security. So what happens when you don't have laws there? So what happened is that Minembwe becomes a very a militarized area to terrorize the population, instead of having just the local government to run the day-to-day business and to fix the issues and the grievances that the population have. Now it becomes a fighting ground. They forget that there are people, there are babies, there are kids who need to, you know, who just need to be cared for by their own government. But then instead, the state chooses to have Minembwe become a very militarized area, to fight the citizen who are unarmed. And then you have, and then that's how armed groups are formed, so that they can at least protect themselves against their own government that is, you know, creating militia to just control the population. So I'm going to end there, um, and maybe we can continue in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddell. I like that you left it on that note, because a big part of justice is being able to is truth telling, right, and calling things what they are. Recently, you know, I've been seeing a lot of conversations on Twitter, TikTok, just a lot of dialogue going on about the what's going on in the region. It's a very hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about it, and I was in a space where an individual asked, why is it so offensive for somebody to call you Rwandan, or and she gave the example that if somebody tells her she looks West African, you know, it's not a problem for her. But then in our context, the term Banyarwanda serves as a dog whistle, and it has been used due to like dehumanize and marginalize the Tutsi population. And it labels them as foreign invaders rather than like legitimate Congolese citizen. And as we have seen, like this the a divisive rhetoric thrives in an environment of like bad governance, where weak institutions, corruptions, and a great lack of like accountability allows such harmful narratives to flourish. Our politicians exploit anti Tutsi sentiments a lot, and a lot of them gain political favor by positioning themselves as defenders of the true Congolese identity, and they use this rhetoric to rally support and distract from their own governance failures. In doing so, they manipulate ethnic divisions for political gain, and they further entrench hatred and violence, and they, instead of focusing on things like Adele was saying, like, you know, a mother needs food, this baby needs care, we need health care, we need roads. And at the same time, the bad governance has also allowed rebel groups to fester and operate with impunity in the eastern region, right? A lot of the conversation has been around um, one rebel group, which is the M23, but there's 200 other ones, but we're not talking about them, and we're not asking why they're there, right? And it's because of the absence of like effective governance and the failure to provide security or justice, and the general state of lawlessness that has been created as a fertile ground for armed groups. And these armed groups also exploit the lack of central authority to further their own agendas, contributing to instability and insecurity. The use of the word Banyarwanda is a dog whistle in this context, and it contributes to destabilization as it serves to rally support for the exclusion and persecution of Tutsis, and it further marginalizes them, and it escalates ethnic tensions. Meanwhile, the government's failure to address this root cause of instability, such as systemic inequality, corruption, and weak institutions, creates an environment where rebel groups can thrive unchecked, undermining peace efforts. And as long as bad governance persists, the situation will continue to get worse, and we will continue to fight each other on these social media platforms. As we've discussed, the conflict in the DRC is deeply rooted in issues of governance, ethnic division, and the persistence of armed groups. While internal efforts are crucial, the role of the international community and the Congolese diaspora cannot be overlooked. The global nature of this crisis means that sustainable peace requires external support and advocacy. So, with that in mind, I'd like to ask our panelists, what role can the Congolese diaspora and international organizations play in advocating for sustainable peace? I'll ask Dr. Musinga to take this question since he arrived, and then Adele can answer after him, and then we'll have Safari answer third.
Thank you so much for your invitation. And I'm sorry to be late because it's Sunday. This is my time to finish the church service. I just joined now. I will be on this question, but I will go back a little bit to the President Adele Kibasumba, which she has been replied. But I will be happy to add a little bit something I feel very important about how Congolese government and the Congolese community, how they've been discriminate us, and the government have never done nothing. Even the international community have never done nothing. Even the local people, they have never done nothing. And by the way, they praise those who do something wrong to the Tutsi community or Banyamulenge community. Number one, the President Tshisekedi, to make happy those who have the spirit of discrimination and those politicians who doesn't like Banyamulenge community and the Tutsi community, when they give a community or district of Minembwe, many Congolese politicians they have been complaining and they lie about how big it is, even how many population they are there, and even talk more about how this district must be suspended and how Chisekedi must help them to suspend this community Minembwe. And President Tshisekedi, to make Congolese happy, those who have a discrimination issue in their mind. When he was in North Kivu, I remember he announced that speech when he was in Goma. He canceled that district. And there, since when we are children, many 99% we don't have birth certificate. It's very hard to get birth certificate when you live in a couple or 100 miles to get where you can find anybody a register who can register your family or your children. Now, the President Tshisekedi, to make those people happy, and he canceled the Komine Minembwe. And we was not happy for his decision, but because he wanted to make himself happy, and I can say even himself, he said he's a president, and he agree with Congolese, but he have never shown us any love, any kind, any justice. Number two, those people who kill Banyamulenge or kill any Tutsi, we have never ever see any single person who have been facing any justice or any court or to go face the law. Banyamulenge, we have been discriminated. There's no justice to the Banyamulenge. To kill Munyamulenge or to kill Tutsi is like to kill insect or to kill something. We have been banned in a street. They take away from us from the car. They kill us. They have eat our meat. Our brothers, they put in tires and they ban them, and they filmed that, they put in a video. They took the phone, they start to take picture, and we see those who are killing our brothers, those who are eating our brothers. We have never seen any minister, any politician, any official person in Congo who have been condemned that. Some few they start talking that, but they have never ever do nothing. But when all those things happen, we don't see anything international or local or government do nothing. We have never seen anybody who have been in court, who have been in jail because they have killed Munyamulenge or banned Munyamulenge or eat the meat for another person of Munyamulenge. Number three, we have many politicians. To be elected, you must prove to them you don't like a Tutsi community in Congo, including Bitakwira and the others. Moise Nzambi and the other, those people who talk like that. But we have never seen anybody who have been gone in court or do something or to leave their position because the wrong word have been used. And in fact, they promote them. When you prove to them you don't like Banyamulenge so much, you get promoted. When you start prove to the Congolese communities you are a very aggressive person to the Tutsi community, you can speak publicly against them, that means you are a hero to them. You will be promoted. And international justice, human rights, they don't do nothing. But when we start fighting, talk about it, protect ourselves, then international started talking about how bad we are. And when we have been killed, they don't say nothing. Now we have thousand of people in a refugee camp, nobody's talking. Now we're in America, nobody's talking. But when we say we want to go back in our home, we need justice in our land, no, everybody's talking. I was want to talk about that because that pissed me off. That's making me feel look like we are not a human being like others. Why these big countries, government, organizations, international organizations, they don't say nothing when we are killed, when our people, our brothers, has been persecuted, has been humiliated. Nobody is saying. Nobody, anybody from human rights who is saying nothing. Nobody is saying that they will put anything about those people who have been killed us. No one. No one is talking about the community in the Congo who killed Banyamulenge. Right? As now we are talking, I come from an area called Bibokobogo. There, we are expecting Mai Mai, they are planning to come to attack our community. Same in Minembwe, more soldiers from Burundi. They just there, they're planning to attack our community. Nobody's talking. But when we decide to defend ourselves, then they come back to us, we are wrong people. We don't understand what we did to the other community or other nation, other organization, why we don't deserve justice like other communities, why we don't deserve love like other people. Everybody deserves justice, everybody deserves to live, everybody deserves to be loved. We are family, we are parent, we have a children like others. We have been born to this world like others. We have been in Congo like other Congolese. Why us? Why not Congo can give us protection? Why international government, the international organizations, United Nations can not give us protection? We don't deserve it. We are not animals. We are human beings like others. We deserve to live. If you know anybody who will protect us, we will protect ourselves as much as we can. That's why we need to defend ourselves because we are human beings like others. If anybody respect you, but you must respect yourself. If you know anybody who love yourself, you must love yourself. If nobody protect you, you must protect yourself because you are human being like others. That's the number one I was want to say to tell the people. We deserve love, we deserve protection, we deserve dignity like others, we deserve justice like others. Number two, according to the question you ask, what other and community, other international or other people who are abroad that they can do for us? We need people who can speak in our behalf. We need justice. We need people who can talk how we have been killed and how they are killed as now. As now we are speaking. The soldiers in Burundi, they are fighting. They are attacking our community. The Mai Mai, they are attacking our community. FRDC Congolese soldier, they are attacking our community. FDR, they are attacking our community. What we need to say, what we can do. We need people like you. We need people from different community, different countries. They need to speak in our behalf. They need to help us to tell international community, to tell other government, American, Canada, Australia, Europe, to tell us how we have been persecuted, how we hunted like animals to be killed. We need protection. We need human right in our country. We need to have a human right like others. We need people who can understand and speak in our behalf, tell other people how we are struggling, how we have been persecuted and humiliated in a long time ago. And people need to know, even this the time, people, they know what we have been facing in Congo. Since we are child, we have been humiliated. We have been persecuted. We have been cast. Tell us different names. You are one this. You are so and so. You are Tutsi. You have big long nose. You look like this. We have been humiliated. Our parent have been humiliated. Our grandfather has been humiliated. We have never enjoyed life like other communities. Number three, the government have never even built any even water or electricity or road in our community, in our area. We're still living in the rural area because the government has been careless to our community. If nobody care about us, we must care about ourselves. Now we are telling international community we need to live a good life like other people.
Dr.
Now,
Musinga?
yes,
Hi, sorry to cut you off. It's just thank you so much for your answer. It's just because we're 4:30 and the space ends at exactly 5 o'clock, and
yes,
we do need to take questions from the audience. So I'm
yes,
just gonna give you 1 minute to summarize your argument, and then I'm going to start letting people up for questions. Okay?
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Just 1 minute to conclude your thoughts, and then I'll invite people from the audience.
Thank you. I will
Mhm.
say what we need from the audience or from other communities. We need people who can speak in our behalf. We need people who can understand our pain. We have been facing this pain for almost over a half centuries, since around the 60s. We have been facing these challenges. Now, because this has been so long, all other international communities and the countries, they know what the Tutsi people in community in Congo, they have been facing. Now, we need you people, we need the organizations, we need the international organization to speak in our behalf. We need justice. We need uh, right to live in Congo like other Congolese. And what other Congolese and the Congolese government they are doing for us, we need people who can convince international organization, because we are not a government, we are just community. When we are talking, then the government say what this community they are talking is not right. Some people, some they understand, they think the government is right. We need more people who can speak in our behalf. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Musinga, for that answer. So I'm going to allow uh, two people up right now, and you're all going to get a minute. No, a minute is too long. 30 seconds to ask your question, and when you're asking your question, mention who you're directing the question to. And I would just ask that all questions and comments remain respectful and focused on the topic at hand. Specifically, we want to make it clear that any questions or comments questioning the authenticity of the Congolese, Tutsi, and the Banyamulenge community will not be welcomed in this space. The moment I see that you are gearing in that direction, I will have no problem muting you and kicking you out of this space. This space is meant for constructive dialogue that contributes to understanding, healing, and finding solutions to the challenges we've discussed. Let's keep the conversation focused on fostering peace and unity. The first speaker, Jerry Kakala, you could go ahead, 30 seconds, and address who your question is to.
Thank you. My first comment is I'm Congolese, as many of people in here. For most of Congolese, it's less about who is Tutsi, who is Hutu, who is Muluba, who is Mswahili, or whatever. It's all about allegiance. It feels like some people have pleaded allegiance to Rwanda, Kagame especially, and it's blaming all other communities. The fact that somebody can say they didn't build road in some area while Congo is underdeveloped at 80%, it's just troubling for me. And so here is my small question: what exactly should those who are saying they are being branded, chased out of the community, they are expecting from the government concretely? And I would like to know if any of these speakers condemned the killing what is happening in Bukavu, in Goma, throughout years, in not only for Tutsis. And do you think the
Hey, hey, Grace.
Yes.
I just kicking me off because sometimes you need to check their background. Some people are here just disturbing and just yeah, I just kick him off. So just go ahead with the next one because these people, some of them are just here.
Disrupt.
Usually, you always check their profile. You can tell. So I can't just give someone a mic who is
Uh,
insulting the President Kagame.
Bahati,
Yeah,
let me say something.
yeah.
I
Go
think
ahead. Go ahead.
we as Congolese will welcome all the questions, and I think Grace gave 1 minute. Yeah, just let's have each one express despite what they have on their profile, just as Grace have set the boundaries of question and the time. Let's just be in that limit, but we are welcoming all questions, and we are ready to answer those questions in the manner they deserve. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Safari. If you're comfortable with that, me, I'm okay because I don't want audience to come to disturb our guest. So if you're comfortable, me, I'm okay. Okay. Thank you so much again. Tantine, go ahead, Grace. Thank you.
Yeah. So if the speakers are okay with that, we can move forward. Just sorry, Jerry, 30 seconds, and then to summarize your question, and then I think Adele will answer that. Adele will take that question.
Thank you so much. And I think to build a strong community, we should tell ourselves hard truth. That way we understand each other. It's not about silencing others. Otherwise, we not understand what side of the story is well told or wrongfully told. So I'll just summarize by saying, how do you feel when M23 is killing all Congolese, regardless of where they're from? Do you feel that is okay? And do you think to protect your country, we should rely on a dictator from Rwanda to advocate for each X or Y community? Thank you.
Grace, you had told me to answer this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do agree with Safari that I don't know if it's the resilience of dealing with this kind of um, exchanges with our fellow Congolese people. We have built the resilience to endure the insults, the assumptions, um, just outright biases that already other Congolese people like yourself have towards us. So we have no problem engaging in these conversations, even though um, they're pure assumptions and biases that are already labeled against us. So I do want to answer your question, even though in this space we did not mention any other Congolese tribe. We did not blame citizens of anything. We talked about poor governance, and when we talk when we're saying governance issues, it's really about the leader who are in charge of resolving disputes that communities have against one another. So one, we're not here blaming any tribe or blaming other Congolese. It's not your responsibility to build roads. It's not your responsibility to provide resource services to other tribes. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why you were offended by that, by just merely stating the poor governance that we have that is chronic for over literally 3 decades. Past even after the colonialism in DRC. That's number one. Number two, you talked about us condoning the killing that the M23 has done in Goma or Bukavu. Obviously, violence is violence, no matter who does it. It's not okay. However, we have 200 and plus armed groups in DRC. Somehow the M23 is the only one that kills. I don't think so. Okay. The last data I read, the number one cause of violence towards civilians in DRC is the FARDC, our regular army. So do you condemn that? You should start there. Okay. Number M23, whatever violence that it commits, it's obviously in armed groups. It does commit violence, but it's not the first or second or third, not even fourth. Okay. I think M23 is just an easy scapegoat for all Congolese, just to label it as the cause. It's not a cause. It's not the consequence. And I'm not afraid to say that, because it's in data that is proven by the UN agencies that have produced, you know, data about mass violence in DRC. The number one cause of violence is our own regular army, as evidenced by all the killings that they do towards civilians in Minembwe, in Ituri, in North Kivu, and other places as well that we don't even know. So that is data from UN agencies that you can go ahead and check out. That's number one. Number two, Codeco is number two for killing Hemas in Ituris. Every single day, there are mass graves that Codeco, an armed group that is allied to the FRDC, that kills people in Ituri every single day. So I don't see the enthusiasm or the patriotism that is coming from you or the government to denounce those such violence in Ituri. And also, I do not see such a patriotism or enthusiasm to stop the killing of the Hema population in Ituri. Furthermore, I do not see the enthusiasm of international community to stop or protect the Hema people. And I'm not even mentioning the South Kivu, the Banyamulenge who are in the internal displaced camps they are left with no protection. MONUSCO have been there. Those and FRDC have been there, and the camps are attacked maybe 7 times within a month. So I don't see the enthusiasm when talking about all the other armed groups that are also committing crimes and killing people the way you portray M23. M23 now is controlling a vast territory in eastern DRC. All those massacres that were being committed by the FDLR, the Mai Mais and the Wazalendu and the at the complicity of MONUSCO and also the FRDC has stopped. Now you're talking about what happened in Bukavu. Who has the interest? I don't have any full investigation to know who did what, but in my own common sense eyes, I know M23 is controlling Bukavu now. So who has the vested interest to protect people in that area? It's them. So who wants to sabotage what M23 is doing? Is the DRC. So to my understanding and to my assumption, I would think that the DRC government or who the Wazalendo was probably sabotaging the meeting of the M23 by basically showing that the M23 was unable to protect the meeting, and therefore they staged basically a terrorism at their meeting. So M23, probably I know that he has no intention or any vested interest to stage such thing while they're the ones that are supposed to protect that area. So I think, you know, the same passion that you use to point fingers at M23 or anyone else should be the same finger that's pointing right back at our own government for not doing or doing what they do that is purely wrong against any minority groups. Hema, Banyamulenge, Batutsi, Bahutu, anywhere, even all the way the Yaka and Teke. Okay, so I think this is where the conversation becomes very passionate, because some people think they love DRC more than others. We love it just as much. Our own sons are also, you know, giving their lives to protect while their own government is killing their own people. So let's have this conversation, having in mind that the number one killer of Congolese people is its own government first. Thank you.
Thank you, Adele. Safari wanted to answer that question as well. I'm just going to ask that you keep it at 1 minute, and then we'll continue taking questions from the audience.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for brother Congolese Jerry Kakala. Yes, I really, I didn't want exactly to not having a say on this debate. It's an open space. Whatever your profile look like, for me, I don't take it from a reason to not give you a say or to ask question, because definitely you belong to the same, you want to defend the same question. I didn't really understand exactly first. Looking at your profile, you are trying to make a case, right? Rwanda is killing. That's exactly. I understand your point, but exactly the governmental narrative. But Rwanda killing may use it, but in this space here, we want really to look on what the root cause is today, what's going on in our home country, and what's going on in our home country. It's what we can call self-inflicted conflict. Why I should say it? Self-inflicted conflict when, and we said it, we explained it, the bad laws always create chaos in a country. And the words from leaders, they kill more than the gun that's used by these 200 more militias. Our leaders have the first responsibilities. And we talk about Congo. Nowhere in the world a president or a member of the parliament can singleize one single tribe, call it as creature of Satan. Nowhere. Even in Western countries, they always that person pursued and prosecuted for hate speech. You and me, you have seen, you have heard these leaders, those journalists using those such words against the Tutsi. You never see it anywhere in the world. Those are the reasons that made us where we are today. So just to reply to your question, definitely, whatever happened in our home country, Congo, we are all part of what's going on, and we should say it loudly. The M23 came just for one single reason, for a government that has not been able to solve the problem of its people. When you exclude a part of your member of your population, denying the right to live, the right to live, the right to be secured. And when a government called a group of people infiltrate in the army, it's enough to tell these people you don't belong to this country. So how can this be changed? It will come from the same leaders. Change the words they use, just put people together and use the differences, the diverse culture they have as strength to build a nation. At this time, you don't see it. I don't see the Hema are seeing it, and the Hema and the Lendo see it. I don't see the Tek and the Humbu and the Yaka in Bandung. Do they see it? I don't see it in South Kivu, North Kivu. We didn't see it. And that's how the M23 came up. Exactly what happened in 1992, in 1994, when the law was made to exclude part of the population. This happened in 2023. You saw the campaign to be elected as MPs. The rhetoric was used just to always call those people, the Tutsi, the Banyamulenge, foreigners. You saw the book from Shalonana. He said it loudly. And he campaigned. The book, he had the conference in universities. Those are enough. You can you can relay the book of Onana are the same book that were written 1945, 44, 43 in Germany when they were calling the Jews the same language Mr. Onana used in his book. We don't need it in 2024, 2024, 2025. We need a country can unite, but we need leaders. Those leaders, we don't have it at this time. I think most Congolese can understand. We need a leader who can unite us. From south to north, east to west, we don't see that unity among us Congolese. You can also be part of that unity to build the good Congo, the Congo for all of us, despite my nose, my tie, my height, my identity, my culture. So please, that's why the call we are making today. The root causes are there. Bad governance, it's exactly what you are seeing it. Who are the victims? We're the first victim as Tutsi and Banyamulenge. Then after, the other tribes start being kicked out. You saw what they are saying about the Swahili phone in Kinshasa. That's normal. When the first one were killed and lynched and cannibalized, they were saying those are Rwandese. We need to kick them, we need to kill them. But today, people being killed arrested in Kinshasa, they may not be Tutsi, they may not be Rwandophone, they may be any related because the way they look like, they may be victim because they let the narrative passing through all the media. So I want to call everyone. We are ready to discuss, but let's just be constructive as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Safari. And just a refresher for if you just joined the space in the past 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you did miss a lot of the context, and maybe the questions you want to ask were covered in the first couple of hours when you were not on the space. So I will refrain from giving those people an opportunity to speak. And we're going to keep our questions at 30 seconds, and speakers have a minute to answer. I'm going to let Gaitan speak. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. You have one question, and if you're directing it to a speaker, say who you're directing it to. And if it's a comment, keep it at 30 seconds still. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. I only need 30 seconds. I need to comment. Really quick, the situation in the Congo right now cannot be cannot be spoken or talked about through the prism of one particular community, which is the Tutsi community. There are 450 tribes and multiple communities. That's one. And second, the people that you invited on the stage who represent that one community, particularly Adel Kibasumba, who's the president of Mauro Peace Association, is the president of an association or a nonprofit that has been accused by United Nations report S 2023 431 of funding M23 and the Twirraneo, and that's a document that has been documented. So I'm going to leave it there, and to say that we cannot be talking about justice when we have folks who are funding militia groups accused by the United Nations, and even one of the leaders that they are praising, General Makanika, who has been killed recently, was sanctioned by the United States. So I'm going to rest my case here. Thank you.
I do want to answer to Mr. Gaten.
Yeah, go ahead, Adele.
So so um so the civil society in DRC are very restricted about speaking on the issues of Banyamulenge, especially since 2019 up until today, whether it be Congolese non civil society groups or even civil society led by Tutsi in Congo are prohibited to discuss or even assist the Congolese minorities, especially the case of Banyamulenge. Many civil society leaders in DRC who worked in the areas of Minembwe during the conflict have either been imprisoned or they have been sent to exile by the Congolese state for the mere fact that they're assisting Banyamulenge. Even regular Congolese people who work in the area have been ambushed and killed. Their trucks transporting foods have been burned and executed for the mere fact that they're assisting Banyamulenge population in Bibogobogo, Minembwe, and also Rurambo. So Mahoro Peace Association, the organization that I'm proud to lead, which is a nonprofit organization registered in the United States, that represent the interest of Congolese the Congolese Banyamulenge in the United States and also in DRC, um, is no different. So the only difference that I have versus the civil societies in Congo that affects Banyamulenge is because I'm in the United States. They cannot kill me, they cannot ambush me, they cannot burn anything I do, but the only thing they can do is accuse my organization and all the whole Banyamulenge in the United States and also the whole diaspora that they are supporting armed groups while they are really supporting civilians who are left to fend for themselves in the whole plateau. So I have no ounce of shame of supporting my own community that has been left to fend for themselves in every single way. Government have never sent a single drop of aid in Minembwe. In any area that is occupied by Banyamulenge, there's even the aid that was approved in time of Kabila. I think it was like a 500,000. It was embezzled by politicians before he even reached Bukavu. So if the community in the United States gather themselves and they want to support their families back home through a humanitarian aid, and you want to label that as an aid to support armed groups, so be it. We are in a country of law. The United States is a country of law. If we have broken any law, you're not the one or the United Nations to come um, settle the matter. It will be settled in the court of law here in the United States. I rest my case. Thanks.
Thank you, Adele. And just to add to that, Gaitan, I feel like your comment was made in a way to kind of dismiss everything that she has said and kind of to delegitimize um, the conversation that has been going on because she's a speaker and basically discredit the information she has been providing. I do want to comment on that as well. I have read the document in question that you cited. And honestly, I can't help but laugh because there was nothing factual about it. I have read it from page to page. It's the same way you're always the first one in all spaces that you've hosted to cite the mapping report. And in that same mapping report, it emphasizes the killings of Banyamulenge and Congolese Tutsis, but you always conveniently leave that part out. And it's important to acknowledge all aspects of the truth and not selectively omit what doesn't fit a particular narrative. And again, like we said, we wanted to have people here to have an honest conversation, and you were just coming here. Yeah, it was very backhanded and dishonest, and if it's not a good depiction of the truth. And I've also seen the flow chart that you posted. Honestly, it's very laughable, I might say, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I'm gonna let Dr. Musinga respond to that for 30 seconds, and then we will take one more. We're out of time. We're gonna let Dr. Musinga answer that question, and then we'll wrap up the space. It's 5 o'clock.
Thank you so much. What I was want to say about that question is we have been persecuted, we have been killed, people have been attack our village, burn our houses, take away our cattle, our cows, our sheep, our food. As the people who are abroad, who are in America, which we have organization called Mahoro Peace Association, which is leading by Kibasumba Adele. We organize to put money together to buy food for our people, to look how they can have a shelter. The shelter we need there is not like in a urban area. We look how our people can have where to sleep, where they can have food. Our neighbors, other community, they took away everything. Now, do you need to be a silence when our people they are sleeping hungry? And there is no any organization aid has ever sent something there. United Nations, Congolese government have never sent anything there. We need to have honest speaking, honest thinking, as we are human people, we are human and we are educated, we are speaking in different languages, we need to speak the truth. If we are sending money there to feed our families, that is a criminal. That we need to be taken somewhere. People need to pay other people money to speak bad about the organization Mahoro, to take them somewhere or mapping report. We have a lot of people who doesn't want us to leave, but as long as it's different challenges we are facing, we will never ever leave our people to die hungry. We will send the money to feed our parents. We will send the money. As you know, we grown up in the village. We don't have anywhere we can go buy the food. We usually pay the food in Goma, hire airplane to take food there because we don't have a road. Now, the other people use the other languages, say that we are supporting militia. Look how they can put mud in our face. We will keep do what we're supposed to do to help our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Grace,
Musinga.
I do want to add one more thing. He did
Mm-hmm.
mention about that we praise Makanika, that he was sanctioned, he was under U.S. sanctions. I do want to add that even Nelson Mandela was under U.S. sanction as he was fighting for apartheid. So let that also settle in, that we do not need permission to help ourselves. If you go to punish us for helping ourselves, the United States will not be first because it was already done by our own government. Our own government has failed to protect our community. It also has failed to aid our community. So if our own ourselves, we have to take the matter in our own hands, and you want to punish, our Congolese government has already done it. So if US and everyone else want to follow suit, we have no problem with that. We are already ready for the prosecution to continue, and we must do whatever we need to do. We're not even afraid, okay? We're not even afraid to do so. And United States understand that. Every other places understand that. But I know the geopolitics play a role. But in the meantime, Mlenge are not shy, no afraid to continue to do what we must do to survive. Like Dr. Musinga just said, we must continue. And every time you stigmatize us, every time you push us on the side, every time you find a punitive way to make us stop living, it only gives us fire. It only fuels our desire to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Riddell. I just want to thank One Nation for giving us this
Yeah,
platform for the
Grace, can I add
conversation.
something?
Yes, Safari, you can add something.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give the speakers each a minute to conclude. Adele already went, so Safari, you can go, and then Dr. Musinga can also have a minute.
Yes, thank you. Looking at what really our friend Mr. Gaitan saying, he's really he's on a mission, because I went through all his tweets. He's on a mission. I think looking on what he does, he's been paid for the job, and he can do his job well, because his mission is just to depict the picture of what we are explaining exactly. Because if really each Congolese should really look on the picture of what is Congo today, he can understand that the root causes that we are describing, each of us were victim of these root causes of what's happened in our home country. If you look on the consequences to explain what we went through, then we are wrong. The basis is wrong. Today, the M23 is a part of the solution to the problem of Congo. And each Congolese should take it, realize something that can help the next Congo, how it should be shaped for a long-standing, peaceful, and country, and where each nation, neighbors, and worldwide could really be proud of. The simple picture is to show how, when you talk about the killing that's going on in Congo, I see you campaign for Genocost, but that was a political business. As usual, political business start with those uh, strange words that created from nowhere to explain something. And that's how the word Genocost came in. And if you go after each situation in Congo, I would like to see yourself denouncing the hate speech that has been fueled by politicians against the Tutsi and the Banyamulenge in Congo, showing exactly some empathy. I don't know which part of Congo are you from. We are talking about our community, because for the last 40, 50 years, if you didn't follow, we have been victims of exclusion, discrimination, and hate speech. And it's still going on today. And if you look back and read the history again, you can find where all things started, of leaders or politicians taking the ethnic identity of Congolese as a masterpiece of the politics. For every time election is taking place, they need to use that game, that card of dividing. We are all part of one single country, Congo. Rwanda is our neighbor. And we, as Tutsi and Banyamulenge, we are blessed to have that heritage that is across the three borders, by the way, because if you look, we are from all the four countries from eastern part, Burundi, Uganda, and Rwanda. We have the heritage from all those three countries. And the Congo should benefit of those advantages of being on the border side. The same way when you look at the Maasai in the part of Tanzania and Kenya, those problems never happen. Why it's happening in the home country? And why exactly? We come from those bad laws, bad leaders. Today, if I ask every Congolese today, are you proud of the current leadership we have in Congo? Where people have been eaten, killed because they belong to this tribe, and no one has been prosecuted. As a Congolese, you should ask yourself, is it where this country I belong to? Our words matters. Whatever will happen next tomorrow, it's you and me, Congolese, to fight for justice. And the words from each of the group that are fighting for peace and the reconciliation of Congolese, those words matters. I never hear from the Banyamulenge, the Tutsi, the Hema, saying we are going to expel, we are going to kill a portion of other tribe. We are going to expel them out of this country. The M23, which is a coalition of many tribes, who saw that really the exclusion, the discrimination against the Tutsi and the Banyamulenge was something that is going to erode the unity of our nation, Congo. And those Congolese joined the movement to help. It's where everyone should understand why the M23 is fighting today, why the AFC has started to join M23 and the other Congolese coming together saying, let's change the course of this country. The country is going in the wrong direction. Everyone can see it, but those who do not see it, because they are still served by those in power. Our wish, we as a member of our communities, Tutsi and Banyamulenge, we wish to see Congolese standing together in diaspora, not going really supporting of a government that has killed its own people. When I say the government has killed its own people, I have a proof. Because on August 30th, 2023 in Goma, they killed 56 people. It's camera. Those are facts. That's where we should understand. We need to have a Congo that unites us. Leaders that do not spill word that divide us. Those leaders should be cast out. If you don't do it, then you are not going for the peace in Congo for long term. My closing word will be, let's all work together. My word will be the one to build unity among us. But we will work to protect, to defend for those voiceless people. And those voiceless people, we know them. The Hema, killed every day. The Beni, the EDF are killing every day. If you go to South Kivu, those militia, Mai Mai, rename Wazalendo, ideology to kill, send back the Tutsi and Banyamulenge out. The FDLR that were welcomed, enabled by the government, has same genocide ideology. Those are the people. The rest of us Congolese, let's build a Congo for all of us, and then work for how to make that Congo to prosper for the next generation. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Bahati, and One Nation Radio.
Thank you, Safari. Adele, I don't know if you have any summarizing thoughts. A minute, if you do.
No, I just want to thank you, Grace. I want to thank One Nation Radio, Bahati, and my co-speakers for this insightful conversation that we just had, and all the questions that were asked. Really, I really thank you for the time. Again, we are all just calling for inclusion, to see to see problems in your neighbor's eyes. Maybe we can find a common ground, and in a way that we solve our issues. I want us to focus on ourselves as Congolese rather than looking at the um, externally, right? Because we first have to fix our own mess inside. We have to clean our own inefficiencies before we look outside. I do think that the root causes really lies in our own governance. In our own poor governance, the corruption, um, the way the government manages the entire communities and how they connect with each other, how politician uses that inefficiencies to basically you know gain popularities. We need to really work on our own way of governing and looking at the issues and solving them ourselves. Everything else that comes from outside or come from the lack of the good governance is a consequences of what we're not able to do as a country. So again, thank you for your time, and yeah, I look forward to having more conversation like this, because I do think that our Congolese compatriots, they are very misled by their own government. So a lot of times the narrative is created to distract the poor governance that's there, the lack of political maturity, or the lack of political programs that are supposed to, you know, show what they can do for the country. So instead of, since they don't have anything to show, they instead start to blame a blame game, or blaming others, blaming that there's something else that's making them, or that's hindering the development of the country. As Congolese, we should not fall for that. We should ask for more. We should see what they're doing. We should see their program, and we should see uh, their achievement, instead of showing us that, these people are the ones that are causing problem. I think next time, really, I think we should dive deep on why M23 exists, because we should go there with our own Congolese people. We should say why we have all these multiple, um, hundreds of armed groups. Why do we have Mai Mais? Now there was Alendus. Why do we have them? If we do have a functioning state, and if we have a regular army that is, you know, somehow capable, way before M23, why do we have all these Mai Mais already in the country? Why do we have them? And some of them were fighting the government. It's not until when they started having the Nairobi process that they fuse them and they make them Wazalendo. But before that, all of them were fighting the government, and they were called in Nairobi to negotiate with their own government. So why don't we talk about that, and we focus on one thing, the shining object that's going to gain them international mercy, which is the M23. I think we should come back to these things and have an honest conversation, and not be afraid to go there, because this conversation needs to be made. And again, now we have the M23 controlling almost the half of the eastern DRC. We we obviously need to talk about it, because now they're going to be in charge of our internal matter, and we need to explore how it's going to be different this time. It's basically it's going to be running the matter of this area. And why not talk about it now? As citizens, we have no power to chase it away. It's here, and we've seen in Goma, in streets of Goma and Bukavu, people cheering. We see they're drawing mass of population coming to welcome them, and it seems like people are excited for the change. And maybe we need to stop, condemning them, because people who they're now governing seem to be so happy and excited to see them and to welcome them and to see what they can offer that is different than the failing government programs that have failed to unify the country. So I'm looking for more conversation, to be honest, because the issues that we're discussing are very deep, they're complex, they've been there for so long. It's not in just one state space or question that you can you know reveal, or talk about everything and find a common ground there. So thank you. I just want to thank you for the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adele, and thank you, One Nation, and all the speakers. I think Dr. Musinga left. Thank you, Safari. Thank you for a rich and thought-provoking discussion. Be on the lookout for the next panel conversation on M23. And I think it's essential to understand that during this conversation, we've navigated the complexities of the conflict in Eastern DRC, and we need to acknowledge and recognize that multiple truths can exist. It's essential to understand the issue of governance, historical ethnic divisions, and armed groups are deeply intertwined, and the rhetoric that dehumanizes Congolese Tutsis only perpetuates violence. It's also equally important to remember that one truth does not invalidate another, and we must create space for diverse lived experiences, even when they challenge our own preconceived notions. Any attempt to silence certain truths, particularly those historically marginalized, undermines the integrity of this conversation. And I don't know if Gaetan is still in this space, but if you truly knew Mechanica or were paying attention to what was happening in the East, you wouldn't be making such statements. And with all due respect, if he's not here, please pass this message on. Get his name out of your mouth unless you're willing to speak the truth. And also, to my fellow Congolese, and anyone on this space as well, ask yourself why you're so uncomfortable with a group discussing dehumanization and calling out the government. Why does this acknowledgement of these harsh truths make you so uneasy? Is it because confronting these realities challenge narratives that you've chosen to believe? It's crucial to ask yourself why these uncomfortable truths provoke such resistance from you. And moving forward, we must embrace nuance and engage in honest dialogue where all perspectives are held. Acknowledging uncomfortable truths is essential in peace building. Thank you for everybody for your participation today. Follow One Nation and stay tuned for next spaces that we'll be having. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Uh, yes, uh, Grace.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. There was, I didn't expect this. This is amazing, and I really just a word of appreciation with all our guests because I didn't expect this to happen because I knew something is coming but all our guests was ready to answer all the questions. So I think our guest today, uh, one of my best or my favorite guests I ever have here in the space. So thank you so much. So we need you here for real. As I said, I'm here just to protect my speakers and the guests because uh, we all face this every day here. So we really appreciate and uh, we look forward to see you again in the future. Thank you so much. Thank you, Safari. Thank you so much. Thank you, my sister Grace. And where is she? She just left.
No, I'm still
Uh,
here.
Oh yeah, okay, Grace. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You a good moderator. So I think we're gonna have you next. Since I know we need you here, so we need more, and we need actually this English version. A lot of people have been requesting these spaces. We need to tell them. We need to tell the truth. We need to talk about our story. So we're gonna have this a lot of spaces here. So thank you, the audience. I see a lot of requests. We don't have time. We are running out of time, so we don't have choice. Please, big applaud One Nation Radio. This is a diaspora radio. They always organize all these spaces every week. So please follow One Nation Radio, follow Ukweli Times. All these are diaspora platforms, media. So they try to, keep the narrative and telling our real story. So thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you, Bahati. Bye.